We have arrived.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
Paul, it's kickoff week. Welcome to the NFL 2025 season.
Hell yeah. We finally made it. And it is the big day today. We got Cowboys versus Eagles later on.
Yeah, a big popular matchup rivalry kick off the season, which is always nice to see. Again, my name is Todd Bailey, and that man is Pablo Bailey.
Absolutely.
And we are Extreme FF, and ExtremeFF.com is where you go to play our games, Paul.
Absolutely. Yep. And if you are going to be listening, make sure you check us out there up above on our social medias, or you can listen and like, comment, and subscribe on any of it if you're listening on the podcast and all the different places that you're listening from.
Yeah. On today's show, which is sponsored by 123go.io and tabbyentertainment.com, we're going to talk about the NFL news because it is kickoff week, and we have 4 people giving us predictions from the EFF. So we'll get to all of those, and we'll see how they go throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
We have lessons that we've learned, and I want to hear what you've learned, Paul, in this season of drafting. We have the Extreme Blitz and what we think might be cool starters for week 1. And then, as always, our Pick 1 segment.
Oh, yeah.
All that coming in a moment, so hang tight. All right. So, yes, man, we made it.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like, and maybe not for you as much. I think maybe you might get a little bit of a feel for it because you're getting more into the football than you have been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, that time from the Super Bowl to now just seems to be dragging on, and you get a little bit of a teaser. Here's the combine. Here's the draft. Ooh, the camps are starting. Ooh, the preseason games are starting. Okay, you get a little bit of that, but there is nothing that matches this kickoff week in the NFL, in my eyes, at least.
Well, it's very much like the engine of excitement is going now. Like, this is when it starts. The engine is just igniting literally tonight at 8:20 p.m. I don't know, our time.
It is Eastern time.
And after that point, it's going to be just going all season long with excitement, and you're going to have a lot of news to go back and forth on. Of course, all these matchups and games. It's going to be a blast. So I know that it is a little bit fresh for me going back into the NFL, but I'm excited just to get back into this as well. And it's that time of year. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
Oh yeah, and your boy Saquon's playing tonight.
Hell yeah, Saquon's playing tonight.
And he just going this not a little teaser, but kind of a little teaser. He's going to be a pretty solid pick tonight. So we'll get to a little bit more of that and later on. But before we get to the NFL news, I want to introduce a new topic here for us. And there's going to be 4 of our Extreme FF kind of regulars or people who've been around a little bit. And we're going to pick 3 games per week just on the money line. So just going to see who's winning. No spread, no prop bets. Just going to see who's winning. And we're going to have a little contest throughout the season and see who is the best. So I'm going to go get started on that first, and then we'll go to the news. I know you have a really kind of cool soundbite for that news. So
we got sound bites for everything.
We do.
This is our EFF breakdown soundbite here.
Yeah. All right, so let me go first with some of these picks. Just going through them quickly, and we'll record them. You can come back to this episodes and listen to them and watch them again. But Scott Kramer, one of our popular guests on the show, and I've been around for a while, is picking Arizona over New Orleans, Washington over the New York Giants, and Denver over Tennessee. So Scott's picking Arizona, Washington, and Denver.
Okay.
Probably our most common guest is Joe Bliss, who's picking Philadelphia over Dallas. He's picking Green Bay over Detroit. I'm like, oh, dude, really? Come on. And he's picking Jacksonville over Carolina.
Okay.
And then Uncle Jack, we call him Jack Bailey out there in the Nevada area, is picking Denver over Tennessee, Cincinnati over Cleveland. And he's picking, he even said this, rookie McCarthy is going to walk into Chicago, and the Vikings are going to beat Chicago on the road.
Nice.
So I'm picking Denver, Cincinnati, and Minnesota. And then they got me. I'm picking the Bengals over the Browns. I got the Eagles win tonight, and I got Denver over Tennessee.
Okay.
So any thoughts on any of those games, Paul, or any other games that you're looking forward to or might have a little say or any of these?
Yeah, what was Jack's last one?
Minnesota over Chicago.
Yeah, that one's exciting for sure, just because I think that that's a good opportunity for JJ to kind of get back to it and learn, I guess, a decent team. I mean, not great team, right? But against a decent team, how he's going to hold it together, and I think that that's going to be good for him. So I think that's a fun one. Hopefully they do win. I think that that's a solid bet. I think that a lot of these are really safe bets too. Like I like the I want to say the Cowboys Eagles, but I know that's not the one I'm trying to think of right now. I like Washington as well. I think the Washington matchup solid this week. Um,
This is pretty cool how every game is a divisional rival, which is really kind of nice. I don't recall that
right.
happening really at all or not very often. So it's nice having, hey, you got to come out and you got to win because you're losing or going to win against a defending or divisional rival. So that's why it's kind of a cool moment there. But yeah, I got Arizona for over New Orleans from Scott. And I think the Cardinals are going to walk in there. I don't see
Mhm.
anything from New Orleans is going to scare me offensively. So looking for a big year from Marvin Harrison because he did not do well last year.
No, he didn't, and I think that that was one of the hardest things for me, which I guess I'll get more into it in the draft breakdown. But um, last year I had Marvin Harrison, and it was hard because he was not that great. And this year everyone's all excited about making him one of the best wide receivers, and or not making him one of the best, but drafting him as one of the best wide receivers in the
Sure.
league. And that was so hard for me to really commit to, even though I understand the value of him and the potential that he's got to grow. But it is just I was burned by him once, so it makes that a hard pick, right?
Yeah. Once bitten, twice shy. That could be a song by Guns N' Roses.
But
Yeah,
so what were your three picks again there?
my picks were Cincinnati over Cleveland. I'm a big
Mhm.
Bengals guy this year because I tend to have a lot of the Bengals on my teams this season. So
Oh
and I
yeah.
got Philadelphia winning over tonight or over Dallas tonight, and I got Denver over Tennessee. I think Tennessee is going to be in trouble this season. I think they're going to
Yeah,
be number one pick for next year. Also,
yeah, I think that we'll find out pretty quickly which teams start to just look like the Panthers of last year.
yeah, yep.
But until we get there, we'll see who it is because I am excited for Cam Ward, and I want to see Tony Pollard do something good with him, but I'm not sure if Calvin Ridley is enough. I'm looking at their lineup right now. So we got Tyler Lockett and Eric as the Aomayer as the last one. Chig Okonkwo,
Okonkwo.
Okonkwo, and
Yeah.
he's the tight end there. So none of these names are really like standing out to me as like game changers. And I know Tony Pollard is one that I've actually got on my team with you guys, I believe.
Yeah. Tony actually is a good player. I just don't see him having enough offensive weapons around him to prevent teams
Right.
from playing seven in a box
No, I
or
don't
even
think that. I mean, it's going to be hard for you to be like an individual workhorse on your team for anybody. Like you could take Saquon, you could take Derrick Henry, you could take Bijan Robinson, and like put them in a team like this, and they're gonna struggle no matter what because they have so much pressure on them. And although you're right, Tony Pollard, incredibly talented and experienced running back there, definitely is going to have his work cut out for him this season. And so we'll see if like Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley can really connect to kind of take some of that pressure off. But I think you're right. I think that we'll find likely they're going to put themselves in an awkward spot and at least going to have a slow start to the season before they get going
I,
well.
yeah, and I have a feeling that in the Blitz League, a lot of the offenses are going to be playing against Tennessee's defenses. Well, like you said a few minutes ago, you said like last year's Carolina Panthers. I
Like
do feel that they'll be
100%.
this year's Panthers. So, anyways, yeah, we're going to record all of these picks, and we're going to give updates every week and see just how we do. And And there's no money on the table between the four of us. It's going to be a little bragging rights between Scott, Joe, Jack, and I. So we'll see that. And of course, you always want to throw in your ideas, Pablo. You are more than welcome to do that as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. We'll have to figure out a fun game to it where it's like, you can only pick a team, once not once per, 9 weeks, but at least like you can't pick teams back to back weeks or something like that, so that you can't just pick the Eagles every single time.
Right.
We'll see. Well, at this point,
and
it's just having fun.
it should be a fun thing, and just to see how we do, and what the heck. So let's just go ahead and do that. But
Yeah. All right.
so
Yeah.
you
So then,
have news for us, don't you?
yeah, absolutely. Breaking into a little bit of NFL news because it is time. It is that time of year, and we got some fun to be
So
had here.
do you want to do your part first?
Yeah, sure. So, the main thing that I was looking at was that the rule changes for
Yeah.
2025 have been currently set out there, of course, because it is the season starting back up. And those rule changes include some small things, nothing major. Kickoffs have been pushed back from the 30-yard line to the 35-yard line for the kick return.
Mm-hmm.
They've had some overtime rule change that makes it so like both teams will be able to get a chance with the ball in case the other team scores, unless the timer gets like pushed to the end of the clock or something.
Right.
And then they have a tush push rule that has been continued to be allowed for the 2025 season, and it is going to be on the docket next year to see if it will continue to be out there. But for anybody who was hoping for that to go down, unfortunately, you're going to have to be waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
But yeah,
And
so
then
those are the small rule changes, I think, right?
the delay of game rule change.
Oh yeah, then there was a delay of game rule change. Well, that was a um shoot, what was that? The sportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, call timeout without having one and whatnot.
Oh right, okay, so yeah, there was a new timeouts rule that they made where essentially if you try to call a timeout when you don't have one, it is now going to be a, delay of game penalty, which is
Right.
a 5-yard penalty right there. And
Yeah.
then additionally, there is a sportsmanlike emphasis rule that is going on where apparently the what was it? Unsportsmanlike gestures rose by 133% last season.
I wonder who's counting that. Well, that one's not. That one's kind of close. I don't. What the heck?
Someone had to do a lot of work on this. But yeah, apparently now they have something that's like if there's a violent gesture, that's going to be a immediate penalty on that. So, yeah, we'll see.
As a guy who's been growing up in the years, where I mean you don't know this guy, but Paul, but Billy White Shoes Johnson, he played for the Houston Oilers, now the Tennessee Titans, and he was famous for getting in the end zone and just doing the leg cross, the ball, the leg cross, nothing fancy, or the icky shuffle back in the Bengals guy back in the 80s. He would couple hops here, couple hops there, one hop, and then spike the ball. Barry Sanders famously just gave the ball to referee, didn't care about anything else. So
hmm
over time, the celebrations in the end zone have become actually choreographed and orchestrated amongst players before the game even starts.
Oh yeah.
And it is a thing. So I don't disagree with the NFL getting cracked down. I don't want to discuss all these rules, but it is something that I think would be nice that there's a lot of those nose wiping things and they kind of point their direction. And I just play the game.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
play the game.
Those were some of the things that were directly called out by these referees, which, yeah, it looks like they're trying to stay away from violent gestures. And they mentioned that it's really just there's a lot of things that you can do that are creative and fun. And they're like, let's stick to doing that. So it's not
Right.
like they don't want you to celebrate. Celebration is not banned, but it's just violent celebration that
Yeah.
is now going to be cracked down on hard, supposedly.
And the NFL has been famously known as the no fun league for a long, long time too. So I do feel
hmm
that hey, these players get a chance to score a touchdown in the limelight. They should have some fun doing it.
Oh
I
yeah.
just you don't need to get like I guess violent. You don't need to get taunting, whatever it may be. Just score, have a little fun, do your thing, get the ball back to the referee, and then be humble and go on next play.
hmm
That's what I feel. But I do want to address a little bit of the kickoff rule. This one does kind of come into play.
hmm
So in the past, kickoffs a long time ago, kickoffs and would go into touchbacks, be on 20-yard line, and now they moved to a 30-yard line last year, and then a 35-yard line this year. My concern is we saw a 70-yard field goal during the preseason by I think it's was it Cam Little, whoever. Oh, shoot, anyway, well, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah.
But a 70-yard field goal made in the preseason.
Yeah.
If you're on the 35-yard line and if you don't gain any yards, so ball's kicked off in the end zone, you get in the 35-yard line, you don't gain a yard, and you kick a ball for a field goal, it's a 75-yard field goal. Now, that probably won't be good. But what I'm saying is kickers today are kicking well more than 50 yards regularly and approaching 60 yards regularly. And we had one guy get 70 yards.
Yeah.
Not regularly yet, but you could not even get a first down.
Yeah. Right.
And you're in field goal range. So if I'm a defending team, I definitely will not kick the ball into the end zone. I'm going to kick it down to the 5-10-yard line, wherever I can. Now, it is going to make the game more exciting, and I do want to see some of the stats on how often the balls return, because in 2023, there were 21 roughly percent of the kicks we returned. In 2024, that was 32%. So it went up 11 points. I'm kind of curious on where it's going to be this year. You're going to have more excitement plays, more kick return plays. That's going to have a few more injuries. So I'm kind of curious how the NFL is going to look at that as is it better to have more exciting plays or risking some of the players' health?
I think they said something about concussions went down 43%, if I remember correctly on that number.
Okay.
So it looks like they have already made big changes with the last year's rule changes in that direction. So I think they're hoping that that's going to stay consistent if they push a little 5-yard change. We'll see though. Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it totally could be one of those things where now players are going to be getting back in there and putting a little bit more physical wear and tear on themselves than they would be looking for.
Yeah, again, Paul, if you get a chance, looks at some old game film. Dante Hall for the Chiefs, Devin Hester for the Bears. These are guys who are receivers by trade, but got their gold jacket by Hall of Fame by being kick returners. And that art is definitely gone. So having a little bit of traditionalist in me and the old guy in me, then yeah, I want to see returns because it's exciting. But
they are. They're definitely risky because I'm sure Devin Hester and a lot of the people around him were getting injured a lot more than people would be doing it nowadays, which is which is the point of that. So it's good that they're making changes, but it does take the excitement away. I remember we talked about this last year. And we were specifically talking about this exact rule change, and I was very much on the side of I like kick returns being the way they were because they've always been fun. Even for myself, I wanted to be that guy getting that ball and running it back up the field because it's exciting. You get all the momentum and just a road. You have a lot of obstacles, but you get a lot of momentum and it's just you and the ball and you get to go.
And big collision at the 35-yard line.
Find your holes.
We will get into the tush push a little later on, a little bit of teaser there for us, and we'll discuss that at the end of our show in our pick one segment. But and overtime, again, you mentioned that where in the past, in the most recent past, if there's a touchdown on the opening drive, hence the Bengals and the Chiefs last year, Chiefs could overtime touchdown win the game. Now the team on defense that was scored against gets the ball one more time, and as long as the clock doesn't run out, they actually get a chance to score. So that's to me is a big bonus there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense logically. So I'm glad they did that for sure.
Other NFL news. So there's a game tomorrow night playing in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Paul. It's the international game. It's the Chiefs are quote unquote on the road against the Chargers. Or vice versa. It doesn't matter. They're in Brazil. But so the Chargers lost Rashawn Slater, their top O-lineman. I believe it's the top paid O-lineman in the league. They lost him to preseason for the rest of the year.
Oh wow.
Not a huge problem, except that I look at some stats here that Justin Herbert scored 0.09 fantasy points per attempt when Slater was in there. Now, over a 30 or 40 attempt game, ends up being 3 or 4 points. Not a lot, but it's still something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they have a problem because the Chiefs have a guy named Chris Jones. Chris Jones is arguably, and probably not even arguably, probably good to say he is, the best interior D lineman in the game. Chris Jones has the fastest off the ball speed. Now, I don't want to get in too technical here, but when someone says when the ball is snapped, whatever it is, that hike word, whatever it might be,
Yep.
and that ball is snapped, he's off the ball and across the neutral
plane.
zone
Right.
in 0.85 seconds.
Wow.
That may not seem like a lot, or maybe it does. I don't know. I don't have references, what the normal is, but he's the fastest. So if you have a guy who is Rashawn Slater, an all-pro lineman,
Mm-hmm.
who now is not there, and you have one of the best, if not the best, interior D lineman on the Chiefs team, I see that being a recipe for disaster for this game. Now, I'm not saying that the Chiefs are going to win. I just feel that it may come down to a running game because it's easier in my eyes to block Chris Jones of a running play than to block him as a passing play.
Right.
I believe. Now, I know you played football recently, more football than I have, and I think the old linemen kind of enjoy getting off the ball in a blocking scheme because they're never making the contact as opposed to being pushed back a little bit. And I think
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
I think if I see Amari and Hampton do very well, or the running game at least for Chargers doing very well, but it's
Well,
going
one
to
of
be a
the really
problem.
big things when you're pass blocking as opposed to run blocking, which I think people are aware of this, but yeah, if you're pass blocking, you got to sit and wait for them to come to you. And
Yeah,
those D linemen are people you don't want to wait to come to you. So, especially that one in particular. So, like being able to alleviate that time that you have to even stay in contact and hold them back because they're only going to be a moment through that, like through whatever gap they're shooting. And so,
right,
whatever one they go through, you got to hold them for that period of time, and then you're good. Your job's done. They're not catching that running back when he's past them. There's no way.
right.
So it's one of those things where if they're pass blocking, you need to have the solid. I think it's like 3 to 3 seconds that
Yeah,
the pocket is supposed to be held together from or whatever inspection wise.
yep,
Um,
yep.
and if you get your 3 seconds, then that's good, but it's not going to be easy. And even still, that's assuming that everyone's open. That assumes the play goes as according to plan. And if it's not, then you need to have that extra second or two in you to be able to give your quarterback that whatever more time that they might need. And of course, anything at that point is going to be hard fought for. So,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. I imagine every O lineman wants to go at it as opposed to having to wait for the D lineman like they always do, and then
right.
go from there. You know.
I just don't see this being a very strong matchup for Chargers, and at least on Herbert's side. I think it's going to be a running game more for that, which is how Jim Harbaugh would prefer, anyways.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
moving on to the new guy in the city. Russell Wilson is now QBing in New York City for the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that Wilson has always had, even back to his days, even in Denver and Seattle, he's always been a fantastic deep ball thrower. He completes 45.5% of his deep, and I think deep considers anything over 30 yards.
Sure. Okay.
So anything over 30-yard pass, he's completing just shy of half of them.
Wow.
The Giants last year were at 20%. So I'm going on a record here for this season that, and I think I got him
Nice.
in one of my leagues. Malik Neighbors
Yeah, I got neighbors.
is going to be a guy who's going to have a really good time with Russell Wilson, and because Malik Neighbors has the speed to go deep.
Right.
Now, I do feel that Jackson Dart will eventually become the starter in New York over time. I think Dart's going to be, the new young guy and all that kind of stuff. But initially, I see Neighbors really, really coming off on a really good start with Wilson's QB on those deep patterns.
Oh, absolutely. Who's their matchup week 1? It's
They're playing the Commanders, Washington.
right. Yeah. It's going to be a tough one for them. So we'll see if they can really pull something together. But I absolutely think that if there will be connections that are happening, yeah, Neighbors is going to be one of those ones for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
Um, and then my last little one here I have is I'm not a fan of this guy because he was a Cowboy, now he's a Packer. But Micah Parsons, the the
Oh
the
yeah.
the, D, the DN rush from Dallas is now a Packer, and so of course the Lions play the Packers this weekend in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a stat recently that when Jared Goff has pressure on the early downs, his completion rate fell to 52% with 3 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Micah Parsons is the kind of guy who can get to that making they call it a dirty pocket, having the pocket dirty early, and that's going to bode well for the Lions going to Green Bay. Now, we know the Lions are a run first team. You got Jahmyr Gibbs, and you got one of the best, if not the best, O line in the game. So I'm okay with this going the way it is. And the Lions have beat Green Bay 3 times in a row in Green Bay. I don't think Parsons is going to make all that big difference, but it is a thing to watch. If they can, if Detroit gets in a got a pass now situation, they're going to be in trouble with Parsons in that team.
Right. Yeah.
So
Got a little bit of news here as well. Cowboys cornerback Travion Diggs and offensive tackle Tyler Guyton are going to be expected to play tonight against the Eagles. So we got that defense coming back a little bit. So
okay,
might
yeah,
help a little bit. I'm sure they're going to need it.
yes, yep. All right, hey, give us back into some of our EFF music, and then let's find out about what we learned in drafting this evening.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, Paul, this is your first, season of. I don't know, how many did you do? How many drafts? 2, 3?
This season I did 2 drafts. But
Okay, 2 drafts.
I'm in both leagues for EFF. So it's going to be 4 leagues that I'm in total.
Okay. So what did you learn? And you were in a dynasty. We discussed this last week, but you're in a dynasty league with me.
Mm-hmm.
Just what kind of things have you learned in drafting this season? Because I think last year when you did it, you probably didn't take it as seriously as you did this year.
Right. Well, last year I didn't draft at all. So that
Oh, so
was
you auto picked, didn't you?
yeah, because I missed the draft.
Yeah, that's right.
So I
Fact.
had an entirely auto drafted team last year, and I think I actually did very good to win I went 5-9 in my league in a standard league, and I thought I did
Nice.
great to try to pull those wins out because I had nothing to work with for that season. So I actually learned quite a bit about how to navigate your team when you look at it and you're like, this isn't great. I got to try to find value, and there is value on the waiver wire somewhere. So like, you just got to find who's gonna be playing good matchups that week and go from
Right.
there wherever you can find your advantages, right? And really not bad. I pulled a lot of things together in that situation with a bad team. So I think this year I'm excited to try it with a team that is a lot better set up for success. So I don't think I had the best draft, but according to the draft results, I was given an A. Gotta get that
Yeah.
A. So that's
Nice
pretty
shout out.
cool.
Booyah. Yeah. We can give an
Yeah, there
applause
we
button.
go. I'll give myself both of those. Yeah. So, some of the things that I learned about the draft this year specifically was that um, I always have multiple players that you're looking for, and of course, I'd heard this going into it, so this was of course my game plan, but I didn't know exactly how to implement it until it was coming around, and then I was like, ah, now I see. You don't get the players that you want to get, right? It's more so the draft decides how this is going to be going, and you get to
Yeah.
choose along these choices where you're going to try to find the best value. And
Right.
it's definitely one of those things you don't know how much. I mean, maybe if you're in a cutthroat league where you know the competition's tight, then you might be a little bit more level-headed or on the same mindset of your opponents. But in the leagues that we're in, where it's like, you know, 8 people who I'm not sure who they are yet, but I know that they're going to be pretty decent, and I expect that they're going to be better than I am, at least more experienced than I am, I should
Mhm.
say. then I really don't know where their mindset is with their picks. And so it's a matter of, all right, which running backs are going? How many running backs are gone? Which wide receivers are going? How many of those are gone? Is this the time to pull a trigger on a tight end? Is this the time to pull a trigger on the quarterback? You know, which quarterback do I want to try to have for my backup? How much am I investing in rookies? And that was all very exciting to navigate. And I think I tried to make sure not to focus too much on any game plan ahead of time. And back to
Okay.
that point of make sure you got multiple picks open. Make sure that you're looking at things and saying, if I get to choose a wide receiver, I want these two options that I think will be up for me likely. If I'm going to
Right.
go for a running back, I want these two options. If I'm looking for flex, I want these three options, and we're just going to take whatever presents itself to me.
Yep.
And yeah, don't always look for the top of the ADP. Go for something that you think would have an advantage against your opponents. Like if I know that there were a few times where I felt like I sniped the people directly after me, and I think that
Good.
it's important to look at what they're shooting for and recognize the value that they want because it might be easiest to see the value that you could also have that way if you can't find it yourself to be like, I see what they're building for. I know I'm going to get an opportunity to snag that, and I know it'll also help me if I was going to take that or the one that I was in the mindset of before. Which one do I actually want now? Especially since you have to
Right.
think, like in a snake draft, if you're not in the middle, you might have a long time coming around before you get your pick again.
Yes. Paul, it's amazing that you mentioned a lot of words there that I don't think you would have mentioned a couple of years ago. You probably wouldn't know what a flex was, right?
Right. Yeah,
Or
it's
what positions considered a flex.
mm-hmm. It's been quite a lot of fun, and the draft is a blast. But of course, it's always exciting to do the draft before injuries start coming through and before bad news starts to come out for teams. So at this point, I'm excited for my team. We'll see how it goes, and yeah, um, it's it's game time, right? The engine's
Yeah,
running for football, and I'm excited about it.
it is game time. So one of the things that you're right, you need to be fluid. You can walk in there unless you have like first like I was pick 3 in one of my drafts, and I was pretty confident I was going to get Jameer Gibbs, and I did. Um, but once you get past, I don't know, pick 4 or 5, then it kind of becomes, each person what they tend to get. And you
Right.
mentioned you're not knowing who you're playing against as far as the people and their tendencies. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, some people play by the book, and I tend to lean more towards the book where I'll get a running back, quarterback, receiver, and tight end. Quite often in my first 4 or 5 picks, I have a top starter
Mm-hmm.
for each one of those. There's a guy in one of my picks in my drafts who had the first 5 picks were all running backs.
Right.
So hey, it might work out for him. Matter of fact, he's been projected to be the highest point total for the season with that. And I don't know if I just go with 5 running backs, um, but hey, it's his thing. So you
Mm-hmm.
learn those strategies. But one thing you didn't mention is managing the bye weeks.
Oh
And
yeah.
I got into a little bit of a problem. Um, week 8 is going to be an issue for me.
Ah.
I The Lions are off. I tend to go with Lions, so wherever I can, I get Lions are off. But
Right.
Arizona, I got Marvin Harrison in one of my teams, so he's going to be off. Jaguars, I have Trevor Lawrence as a backup QB in one, but he's backup, so it may not be a big deal there. But the Raiders, and I was fortunate enough to get Ashton Genty in 4 of my drafts. So
In
there I
four of your
lose.
drafts.
Yeah, and one of them being Dynasty, so I'm looking forward to having him for a while. But I
Mm-hmm.
lose Gibbs and Genty in week 8. So managing their bye weeks is a concern that you have. And if you haven't focused or looked at who your bye weeks are and when your players are off, that
Yeah.
could be a major issue because you walk into a week and you're like, oh, now I have no one to play. Um,
That's a really good point. And when I'm drafting, that was something that I actually realized. I think I was in the first draft with you for the dynasty. I was in like round 4 and I finally understood what I was looking at when I saw the bye weeks and I was like, "Oh, I don't want those numbers to all stack up right there."
right.
and
So you
yeah.
can walk. say, hey, I need a running back this time. And when the draft comes to you, you think, well, I can't because the guys I want are going to be, I already have the guys on that bye week. I can't pick those guys. And
I
all of a sudden,
specifically remember I couldn't choose Cooper Cup because of that reason.
yeah, he's
On
at week
like
8
one of
also.
my on one of my wide receiver picks. So I remember that was definitely something that I was trying to be aware of before you put yourself in a bad spot. Because once you
Yeah,
have to trade that player because you realize that well, obviously you don't want to hold him. So if you don't trade that player, then you're in a bad spot. And if you do trade that player, then you have to try to find his value in other people. And it's so hard to trade with people, and this is like almost an entirely
it
separate
is.
thing because it's like a social. No one wants to get the short stick, right? That's the way that the trading goes, and so you have to try to trade something that they want, and generally to do that, it's going to be something that you don't want to give up, right?
Yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah.
it's a tough thing there. So try to be aware of that before you put yourself in a bad situation with the bye weeks.
Well, I'm glad you had fun doing that and glad you learned a lot of cool stuff because it only gets more exciting as you get into more and more and more teams. And I know
Uh
you
huh.
were invited to my IDP league, which is
Mm-hmm.
a big league. You got 5 IDP players. You're playing
Yeah.
2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 3 flex, 3 receivers. You got like 18 people in the lineup in any given week, and 5 of those are defense. So I know you were invited to that. Maybe next year I'll get you into that if somebody drops out. Because
Yeah.
when you get to IDPs, you start. Hey, now I get to. I don't know. I mean, I might know as a team for defense, but I don't know the individual players.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get into IDPs, you're like, ooh, Aiden Hutchinson. He's week 8 also. Crap. All right. So then, but then you look at you start picking, yeah, and now you get into a whole new segment. And when do you go defense? I
Right.
tend to be one of the first ones to go defense. Back in our dynasty league, I went defense. I think in the week 6 or in round
Yeah.
6,
I
because I
was
like
about to
having
say,
the top defense team.
well, something that's really good, at least for confidence. I'm sure that experienced players, and maybe that with more experience and time, I could have a better educated answer for this. But I feel like for better players, or for me, for confidence, I like to have a good spread when it comes to my team. Like I want to feel confident in my tight end. I want to feel
Right.
confident in my, of course, quarterback. And I want to feel confident in my top receivers and running backs if possible. Of course, that's like the perfect draft, of course. So like that's never going to line up the way you
Sure.
optimally want. But I'm also under the idea of saying like make sure that you don't put yourself in a position where you're essentially losing out on a bunch of points for these positions. Because like I was just looking at my matchup for the first week of our dynasty league, and I am looking solid against this guy.
Yeah.
This first week, and of course he'll be able to go through and maybe make some trades and not trades, but make some bench switches and whatnot. But currently it's 58 to 42% leaning my
Nice.
way. So it's looking good. But this is the thing is that his tight end is getting half of the projected points from mine because I got Bowers, right? And he's got Kincaid, so that's getting him 7.2 as opposed to my 16.2. So
Gotcha.
it's tough when you're like getting double the points for other positions. And if you could do that for both your tight end and your QB, then you don't need to have that running back that's going to have that breakout week of the 20 something points.
Right.
You can stick with your 17 and 14 and 15 and 20 a lot more sparsely and be cool with that knowing that you're going to get good value consistently on a week to week
Right.
basis. Yeah.
Right. Well, next year we'll get into a guillotine lead together and a best ball together.
Yeah, best ball sounds a lot of fun. Guillotine seems interesting actually. I'm not sure I'm not sure how much strategy and choices that I'm going to find in that because I'm sure that there are, but I haven't even put my brain in the mindset of a guillotine league, and I wonder when I
Right.
do what sort of the things that I'm going to value. Best ball, I think, would be really cool just because it's quick and easy. Pick it up, figure out what you want, draft the
Yeah.
team, let it go. Right, love
And
that
James
idea.
Ranger, also on our show one time before, is in 133 best ball leagues this year.
Wow. I wonder if that's just like a daily thing that he does. He's like, all right, we're gonna
133.
make a new team on the best ball league.
I mean, that's like 133 best ball leagues. I know they're not that expensive to get into them, so I don't know, but yeah,
It's
it's
at least
that's
$133 that he spent to do
at
that.
least.
At least 133.
All right, hey, let's get into some of the what we consider some blitz starters for week 1.
Yeah. Okay.
So you see a lot of the networks and the shows and the websites have a start 'em, sit 'em kind of thing, or who's hot, who's not.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't just always want to default to the superstar studs. I mean, we could go on and say, well, start Lamar Jackson every week. Well,
Right.
okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to try and make it a little bit more different, kind
Mm-hmm.
of like following the best our Blitz league, where you get to pick one player every 9 weeks, right? And you can't
Right.
repeat. So I don't know. I've not made my picks yet, but these are what people who I think are going to be strong starts this week. I won't go into 2 running backs. I'm just going to go to the top of each one. I got Bo Nix as a QB. He's playing at home against Tennessee. Again, we already discussed Tennessee. Bo Nix had a really good end of the year last year. Last half, he was actually one of the best, if not the best, rookie
Oh
quarterback
yeah.
out there. Sean Payton is just a QB whisperer. They drafted R.J. Harvey as a running back from rookie this year.
Okay.
So I like everything they have. Cortland Sutton as a
Yeah.
receiver
Okay.
out there. Jaleel McLaughlin is another running back. I'm all in, and even got Evan Ingram as a tight end. I'm
Okay.
all in
Yeah.
on Denver's offense this year, so I think Bo Nix is going to be a really good pick this week against Tennessee. Um,
Definitely.
Going on to running backs, your boy. I'm picking him because Micah Parsons is gone. I'm picking Saquon Barkley. And
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley. There's a radio show I listen to all the time. Whenever they mention Saquon Barkley, all the people in the studio say Quan Barkley because they say Quan Barkley. Oh, Quan Barkley,
Saquon
whatever. So
Barkley.
Barkley to me, I don't know. It's they're home. They're defending Super Bowl champions. They're on prime time against their arch rival,
Yeah.
who just lost their top defender. Okay, so give me Barkley. So I won't use him in these picks anymore for the rest of the first half of the season.
Right.
I do have Drake London as receiver for Atlanta. Michael Penix and him connected a lot at the end of last year, and they're playing in Tampa Bay. The game is in Atlanta, so I'm confident that Drake London is going to come out and do well
Mm-hmm.
tonight or this weekend. So I have him. I got George Kittle for the Niners up against Seattle. He just got paid. I think that Brock Purdy
Yeah.
and both need to show up because, hey, they got paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I got George Kittle
He's
there.
got to show his
And
value.
I want your input on these also to get it all done here. I got Jacksonville's offense against Carolina's defense.
Okay.
So I'm still stuck on that. Carolina's defense sucks, though. But Jacksonville, they add Travis Hunter, like him or love him or hate him, whatever you want to call it. He's a he could be a threat as a receiver or a corner. But they already got Brian Thomas Jr. They have Travis Etienne, Trevor Lawrence always has a good passing year. So I think
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville's offense is going to perform well. And then I got Denver on defense against Tennessee because Tennessee, I don't see any threat there at all. So Bo Nix, Saquon Barkley, Drake London, George Kittle, Jacksonville's offense, and Denver's defense are the ones who I like. Any thoughts on those or anybody else?
Yeah. I mean, I really like those. I'm a big fan of the Saquon, obviously, because I didn't think about the fact that they just lost Penix for Dallas, and so that should open up a lot of opportunities. Parsons, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the other Michael. Um, but so yeah, Saquon, I'm sure he'll have a great opportunity to go for it, and of course, I'm always rooting for a good opportunity to uh, to make the call on Saquon as well. So I think that going for it against Dallas this week would be a good call for sure. The Jacksonville versus Carolina is one that I'm a little unsure about, just because I've been struggling to see the the breakout potential for the Jacksonville offense. So I would love to see it come together, but I'm struggling to see it before the season. So maybe the Carolina defense is the perfect chance for them to show that they could take advantage of people and find openings and gaps and make it down the
Right.
field and get the ball going. Move those chains. I think if this is the defense for them to do it, or if there is a game for them to do it, this is the defense for that to be, you know? So
Okay.
that'll be good. And then Denver versus Tennessee. I like the Denver defense too. Solid. Tennessee offense. We already talked about this. We'll see if they can get something going this season, but I suspect it's going to be a slow start, and Denver is not going to make that easy for them. So,
And I had Broncos defense on 4 of my leagues. So
man,
go Broncos defense.
go Broncos. I guess if I had to root for an offensive team, just to go because I'm a little bit hesitant for the Jacksonville, I would say, and also I like the idea of keeping it with somewhat not just going for the best teams because obviously you could go Cincinnati versus Cleveland, and
Right.
you could obviously
Yeah.
go Philadelphia versus Dallas, and Kansas versus LA might be, or the Chargers. You could try that too, but I'm not sure that'd be the best bet. Either way, I think that the Raiders versus New England is a fun one too. I would go Vegas for sure. Go with the Raiders offense against New England defense, and I think that'd be a solid bet.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this guy Ashton Genty running. You watched him a little bit in Boise State, and then he didn't play a whole lot during preseason, but he did make one 13-yard run. He ran over a guy for the 49ers. So anyway, so
Yeah.
that's those are what we consider our blitz starters, hot, not, what do you want to call them, start them, sit them, whatever you want to do. But that's what we
Yep.
think are going to be good for this week in week 1. So,
Hell yeah.
all right. And now for our world famous pick 1 segment. We gave you a little teaser.
Pick one.
We gave you a teaser before, back when we talked about the rules, and we're going to discuss this in a little bit more detail.
Mhm.
One of us is for it. One of us is forced to go against it.
Yes.
So I'm going to let you pick. But this is the tush push rule. So give me your thoughts. Are you for or against it, and why?
This is a tough one, actually. In the fantasy world, it's very much valuable to go against it if you're playing in the Jalen Hurts, right? So I think that I totally understand that. But also from the NFL rule, the NFL side, I don't see the full like toxicity, I should say, for this play. I don't
Wow.
think that it puts it in a terrible state. So I'll go for it here. And we're gonna say the tush push. It's definitely frustrating for some people, but it's not something that's absolutely crazy. It's not gonna be used to completely end the game, or it's not gonna get them through the entire field. It's just gonna be at the very end of the field. So at that point, giving it to him or giving it to Saquon is effectively so similar. So I understand the frustration with it, but I'm also on the side of letting it go for another year, and maybe if we see that it is like an actual problem, then yeah. But currently, I don't see it as a toxicity point for the league yet.
Wow.
That's my take on that.
Wow. I like your viewpoint there. And it is, well, first of all, anybody who has Saquon Barkley, as awesome as he was last year, if the tush push wasn't available, how many more touchdowns would Barkley have got last year
Oh
that
man.
went to Jalen Hurts? Now,
Mm-hmm.
we could argue that point all day long. I'm against it, and I'll go flat out because first of all, it's a boring play. It's a boring play. To
Mm-hmm.
my eyes, it's dangerous. You got just 10 people on line of scrimmage. Hell, maybe even add 10 or 12 more of that pile, just a pile of people. And if you're the nose guard or the center, you're just getting, you got 5, 6 guys weighing 300 pounds and falling on you. I just don't. It's not, to me. give me a fullback handoff. Again, I'm old school
Yeah.
traditionalist. Fullback, bam, hit that hole, go. But I also realized that I got Jalen Hurts in 2 of my drafts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I'm going to be against this thing, I probably shouldn't get him. But if they're going to allow it, I better get him.
Right.
So, because it does bring his value up by having that ability to get those 1-yard touchdown runs.
Right.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
in one of my leagues, in the Scott Fishbowl League, you get points for making first downs too.
Oh, okay.
So having that first down point is huge. Anyway, so I'm
This is one of the things actually. So I don't see, is the tush push used for first downs often? Because I know it's used for touchdowns.
it's actually used quite often for, in fact, I think probably more often for first downs and touchdowns.
Right.
If it's
Right.
4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 on the Eagles, it's a tush push.
For sure.
And it's so hard to stop it. It's just, I mean, I don't know what percentages are, but it's very, very rarely does it get stopped. I think if it gets stopped, it's probably more the team stopping themselves by a bad snap or somebody stumbling than actually the defense. Because I don't know how a defensive line can stop the ball from being snapped, quarterback falling forward, and you got 2 or 3 guys behind the quarterback pushing them.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not always the Eagles. Other teams do it too, but the Eagles do it really well, and they're the ones who always get picked on. So you got Jalen Hurts, who's being slammed in the back by 2 or 3, running backs, and then there's just a mass pile of humanity falling on the field, and we don't know where the hell the ball's at. There is not a way to know where the ball is exactly at until people get off the field, and it ain't gonna happen. So it's just
right.
inside is marking it down where he thinks it's going to be. First down Eagles, touchdown Eagles, whatever. So to me, it's not very exciting. There's some aspect of plays in my eyes where not always true, but most plays should have the ability to break it open for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And having a long distance, a tackle run or whatever, or having a fullback rumble for 30 yards is kind of cool to watch.
Even like when they dive right up the middle, and like even those yards have breakout, or even those plays have potential to break out for literally a touchdown if they get that open field gap, because they're in the middle of the field and this is a straight shot,
Right.
So the risk reward there is very high, where the reward for a tush push is really just going to be that yard, which is just going to be your first down or that touchdown that you're looking for. Yeah. And I will say, for the idea of fantasy, I understand, and I think that, like, for example, fullbacks, which is, I guess, like more of a position for running backs now, or like a specialty out of a running back more than like an entire position of its own. But 100%, like, that player should get the value from those opportunities on the field. Like, that is exactly what they're designed to do. So taking that away from those players for the quarterback to get that is a little frustrating from a fantasy perspective, because like you're drafting those people at ADP assuming that they're going to be able to get that ball on those, especially those plays, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand for fantasy especially. And to be fair, I could see it going both ways, but we'll see next year. Maybe it'll change. I'd be okay with it if it did.
Yeah, okay. If it goes away, I'm okay with it. But if not, give me Hurts.
Absolutely, that's a good way to do that.
Exactly. So, all right, Paul, play us out of here, will you?
All righty. Okay.
All right. As always, we want to thank you, and you, all 8 of you who are online watching us right now. All 8 of you. Thank you very much. Because if it's not for you, we wouldn't be here.
Yes.
Again, like I said, that guy's name is Pablo. My name is Todd, and we are ExtremeFF.com. And above my head, Paul, what do you do there?
Absolutely. Make sure that you check us out on all those social medias there: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And then also check us out on the comment, and subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other places that we're out there on.
Exactly. And as always, the sponsors are 123go.io and Tabby Entertainment. And when I say, when life gives you a chance, you
make it happen.
Make it happen. And we're out of here. Have a great day. Go Lions. Peace.